Now that we've talked about how to do the research for a persuasive speech, let's look at making the outline for the persuasive speech. Let me send this away. Now, you remember I had this whole list of sources. Oh, and by the way, I found another source. Let me show you how to dig deeper in sources. So this was my discover.com source, and I was reading through it, and I found this information about $35,000 in debt on average for graduates. So I clicked on the link, and it took me to an Investopedia article. Now, Investopedia is a fine source, and it gave me some more good information. So I added that to my list of sources down here. So now I've got 10 sources. So you'll be able to find, oh, and you can even go further down the rabbit hole and find more information. You don't want to get off topic, but yeah, here's some more information from Experian, which is a credit reporting source. And they're talking about the student loan debt in the United States. And it's not bad just for individuals, it's bad for the whole country. If everybody is so loaded with debt that we can't contribute to the economy and we're declaring bankruptcy, and it causes problems for the entire country, not just for individuals. So this is something to watch out for both on a micro scale and a macro scale. So I could include that Experian.com article as well. So that's how to kind of mine your sources for more information. Let's see, in number 11 for my source. It's Investopedia. Oh no, it's Expedia. Experian, sorry. Experian.com. Oh, however, ooh, look at that. I don't actually want to use that one because it's a blog. You really want to stay away from blogs. Some blogs are okay. Probably this one is fine. But blogs tend to be things that people have just put out there. They haven't necessarily gone through any kind of review process. So you want to be kind of careful about using blogs. They haven't gone through any kind of editing or fact checking the way a more formal article would have gone through. So I'm actually not going to use that one after all. All right, so now we've got a little bit more information about research. So let's go talk about how to organize this speech. So I'm already in Google. I decided to use Google because some students don't have Microsoft Word. So this is something that if you have access to the internet, you have access to this. So in Google, you're going to go to this little icon right here and click on it. Scroll down a little bit until you find Google Docs. Click on Google Docs. And here is they call this the hamburger. Anytime you see 3 lines or 3 dots, that means that's a menu. There are going to be more options there. So click that and go down to slides. Oh no, sorry, we're not doing slides yet. We are going to do docs. I was getting ahead of myself. So just go to blank. You're going to start a new document. Click on that one. And I use a classic outline structure. I like a nice, clean, streamlined outline that will fit on one page. There is a traditional correct outline format. It goes Roman numerals, capital letters, Arabic numbers, lowercase letters. It goes number, letter, and it goes from big to small. So you're going to go Roman numeral 1 for your intro. You're going to Roman numeral 2 for the body, Roman numeral 3 for the conclusion. In the intro, you're going to have your attention getter, and that's going to be A. So all you have to do is hit tab, and that will automatically give you your A. So attention getter. And B is the thesis, and C is the preview. Some professors will combine the thesis and preview. I like to have it separate. The thesis is your topic statement, tells us in general what the speech is about. The preview breaks it down and gives us a heads up about what the main points are going to be in the body of the speech. So I don't know that yet. I'm going to add that in later. In the body, we're going to have main point number 1. So right now I'm just going to put a number there. That's just a placeholder. And then B is going to be 2 and C is going to be 3. You can have just 2 main points, like you could have problem, solution. That would be perfectly fine. I am going to use Monroe's motivated sequence, which goes attention getter, and then in the body it's need, satisfaction, visualization. So I could actually call this need for now. This is just a placeholder. Satisfaction and visualization to remind myself of what I'm doing there. But again, those are just the technical terms for what those key points will be. That's not what I'm going to actually label those main points, right? So need is basically the problem. Satisfaction is the solution. So it's a problem solution order. And then that visualization step is what makes Monroe's motivated sequence very powerful, because apparently having people visualize exactly how fabulous their lives will be once they do the thing that you're advising them to do, they're more likely to actually do it. It's like you may have seen advice that says if you are going to set a goal, you should write down your goal and imagine the benefits. Think about very concretely what the benefits of achieving that goal are going to be, and then you're more likely to achieve the actual goal. So that's where the visualization step comes in. In your conclusion, you're going to have your review, where you remind everybody what your key points were. You're going to have your thesis again, where you remind everybody what the general topic was. And then you're going to have your clincher. Sorry, not your clincher yet. This is going to be your call to action. So Monroe's motivated sequence again, it spells ANSVA: attention, need, satisfaction, visualization, and action. So the attention getter is in the intro, need, satisfaction, visualization are in the body, and then you have the call to action in the conclusion, right before your clincher. You could use your call to action as your clincher. It just depends on how you want to do that. Now, my attention getter, I haven't decided yet. You don't want to do your attention getter first because you don't want to try to fit the whole speech to your attention getter. That's like the tail wagging the dog. Instead, you do the body of the speech first. So I think, having read all of my sources and looked through all of my research, the need is going to be, or the problem that we're solving is going to be that there are some problems with going to a university for your freshman and sophomore years. So it's going to be basically, how am I going to phrase this? I'm going to say, just for now, problems with university first 2 years. It's best to make your main points very concise. So I might just say problems with university. And we know that I'm going to be talking about within the first 2 years, because I'm not at all saying that you should not get a university education. I'm just saying you should get your basics taken care of at the community college level. So problems with university, and then how to satisfy those. And those problems are, I can break this down into smaller subpoints. It's going to be the cost, and it's going to be the quality, because again, at the university level, a lot of times you're being taught by teaching assistants or grad assistants instead of the actual professors, in large part, especially if you're at a large university. And so the quality is going to come into play there. And then, of course, it costs a lot more. Also, the class sizes. Class sizes at community colleges tend to be smaller. All right, so how are we going to solve this problem? Community college. Community college solves problem. Cost. And I will have sources, of course, that say that the cost is a lot cheaper. And I'm going to have the, I'm going to talk about the quality again. And then visualization is basically going to just say, imagine in a few years you've graduated, you have a good job because the community college prepared you so well for the workforce. You have a good education. Education should come before job. You have good education and a good job, and you don't have a ton of debt hanging over your head because you were smart and went to a community college. Now, obviously, that's far too wordy for a keyword outline, so you don't actually want to have all those words in there. So I would probably say something like, imagine, colon, or maybe imagine in a few years. How about just future? Imagine in future. Graduated. And I can just say graduated. We don't even have to have that because it's part of a good education. Once you graduated, you have that education, one would hope. All right, so we're just going to say when you graduated, or in the future, you have good education. I like good education. Good job. On the one hand, I kind of hate showing y'all this whole process because it is kind of tedious, the rewriting and the wordsmithing. But on the other hand, I think it's important that you see that the outline doesn't just like leap from your brain pre-made. It takes some wordsmithing and it takes some work. So this is a normal part of the process. You got a good education, you got a good job, you don't have a ton of debt. Don't have a ton of debt. Because community college. So good education, good job. I'm just gonna say not too much debt. You might have a little. You did probably go to a university or attend some other courses. You might have some debt, but not nearly as much as if you went, you know, and spent $60,000 at some university all the way through. All right, so in your review, so now I know what my main points are going to be. My main points are going to be problems with university. Community college solves. And imagine in future. I could probably just put future. Your future. I'll think about that. And then for the review, I just copy paste. You want to use the same labels for your key points consistently throughout the speech. Otherwise, the audience will get confused. So my thesis is community colleges are our community college is a good deal. And community college, actually let's do good idea up here. This one you can change up a little bit. Community college is a good idea. And then in the thesis restatement, community college is a good deal. Similar enough. Then my call to action, not just go to a community college, go to, or because my students, the audience for this speech is going to be students who are already at a community college. So I'm going to say take more courses. Can't spell apparently. Take more courses at a community college. Encourage your friends and family to do so as well. Maybe even talk to people about the benefits of community college. No, because I want my call to action to be as streamlined as possible. So 2 items, yeah, I can fit that in, but really not more than 2. So take more courses at a community college, encourage your friends and family to do so as well. And I think I can even take that out. I can just say, take courses at a community college and encourage your friends and family to do so as well. So like when you have kids, tell your kids to go to community college. If you have sisters and brothers, have them go to community college. And then for my clincher, I don't know what that's going to be yet. Attention getter. I might, for my attention getter, do something like, there's a quote that says knowledge is power. So let's just look that up real quick. Control T for a new tab. Knowledge is power. Quote. Ooh. Scientia potestas est. I don't know how to pronounce Latin, but we think Sir Francis Bacon said this. Let's see. So I don't want to get too bogged down in who said it, but I kind of like the knowledge is power idea. So let's go back over here and let's do knowledge is power. Knowledge would help me spell knowledge correctly for sure. Knowledge is power. We think Francis Bacon said this, but ironically, we don't know for sure. If we did, we would be more powerful, right? Regardless, it's true. The more you know, the more you can do. The more you can do, the more powerful you are. And then at the end, I would do something like, let's see, for the clincher, community college. Not just a good deal, the best deal. All right, and for my students, I like them to put a heading to have their actual name up here. So let's see if I can insert header, insert a header, and I actually like it to be aligned right. So Diana Sage, and I'm just going to invent a course ID, speech 1311.p77. Actually, P88. We don't have any P88 classes, so that's just a placeholder. And then I would put the date, 3/28/2020. And I could make this a little bit smaller. I don't want it to take up too much space. Let's make it 10. And you can do fancy things, like you can change the font and things like that. But for now, this is pretty much all I want. All right. And for now, just so I don't lose it, and probably I'm not going to lose it, but just in case I like lose my connection to the internet or something like that, I'm going to save this as a Microsoft Word document. And it's reopening Microsoft Word, even though it was already open. Okay. Yeah. And look at that, it saved it. And I'm going to put enable editing because I know I made it, so it's safe. And I am going to hit save as. Persuasive Outline, Community College. And where am I going to save it to? I'm going to save it to work. Sample assignments. There we go. Okay, and then I have that as a backup, but it's not done yet because now I need to put in my sources, and everything I put in here was based on the research that I already did. So let's see here. Problems with university, and that's going to be the cost. Let's see, reasons to attend. Okay, this is where I'm going to put the tuition difference between, for example, UNT, Control C. Okay. And Collin College. Oh, I forgot to put Collin College there. It's just collin.edu. Wink. Control C. Control V. There we go. And I really like, actually, just to be consistent, I'm going to make this a lowercase u. And it was the, let's see, Investopedia that talked about how much debt people were going into. So I'm actually going to put that first. There we go. So Investopedia was the general, like this is how much debt people are going into, $35,000 per individual. In fact, I can put that 35K per individual. Average student loan debt. Okay, and that's from Investopedia.com. Just put that in parentheses so I can distinguish it when I am delivering my speech. And then UNT, that's where, let's see, let's go back up to UNT. That's where we had the cost of approximately $700 per hour. UNT, approximately, actually, let's just use a tilde. For my students, the keyword outline they turn into me is a working outline, and it is meant to eventually turn into their speaking notes. So you can use shorthand, you can use keywords. It is not an essay. In fact, I have found that it's more effective if you make it very, very concise. So you have just keywords surrounded by lots of negative space. It'll be a lot easier to read. So it's going to be approximately $700 per hour compared to Collin College, approximately $54. $54 per hour. My goodness. There. Now remember, in outlining, you must have, for every one you need a 2, for every A you need a B. So I have an A and a B there, so I'm good, and I got my sources there. Okay, and the quality, I am going to use that Chronicle of Higher Education article. Donde está el Chronicle of Higher Education article? There it is. And that's the one that said the emphasis is on research at a university. Research rather than teaching. Okay. Now I'm getting myself in a little trouble here because I want to do the problem solution thing, but all the problems and solutions are kind of bulking together here. So what I'm going to do is I am going to take this example and put it down here. And I might do the math. I probably won't make you watch me do math, but I might do the math and say that after 2 years, how much you would save going to Collin College as opposed to UNT. Let's see. Or maybe I should put large university in the state of Texas. All right, so the cost here. So now, since I don't have a B, I'm just going to delete that, and I'm going to say cost. And then my information for cost. Why can I not spell? Individual. There we go. So cost, my example there is the student loan debt, $35,000 per individual. And then the quality, emphasis on research rather than teaching at the university. And that is from Chronicle. Whoops. Chronicle.com. Control C to copy. Control V to view. Chronicle.com. All right, and because of my cutting pasting and I didn't double check it, I'm getting some different font sizes in here. So what I really want to do is make sure the font size is the same for everything. So let's make this all 11, and it's all, sure, Arial is fine. There. That should solve that problem. All right, and again, I am following the correct outline format. For everyone, you have a 2. If I don't have a B, I don't have an A. Now for quality, here you can use your own personal experience too, as long as you flesh that out with other sources in your presentation. So I'm going to talk about a personal story here about when I was a teaching assistant at UNT, and then I went on to teach at Collin College. Teaching UNT versus Collin College. Okay. And how many sources is that? That's 1, 2. It's only 2 sources. I need way the heck more sources than that. Oh, 1, 2. This is where I'm going to put my UNT source. And my Collin College source, unt.edu, collin.edu. There we go. So now I have 4 sources. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and I've got a personal story. We need more. Oh, New York Times. Okay. Okay, I paused it for a second while I did a little bit more research, and you will find yourself doing this as well when you're working on your outline. You'll realize, hey, you know, I have some knowledge that I don't remember where I got it. So I need to go back and find those sources. So I went back and found, so for example, I do also want to put in discover.com here because it also was a source for the how expensive a college education can be. So I'm going to put investopedia.com and discover.com here. And then here in quality, I've got my own personal story, and then I've also got two sources. I found from ohiohighered.org, they did a study comparing graduation rates of, quote, native students, that's students who started off at the university, compared to students who transferred in. And they found that the students who transferred in were actually more likely to graduate. So I've got that for a source. And I'll fix the font there in a second. I also found a dissertation by somebody at East Tennessee State University, actually just etsu.edu, Control-C, Control-V. And what this person's dissertation found was specifically at that university. Well, she didn't identify it. You always say a small state university, but it's pretty clear that since the student was writing their dissertation at ETSU, that's where the research was probably done. And they found that students in engineering technology, specifically in that program, were more likely to graduate if they were transferred in from a community college. So let's put that in there. Okay, and I also want to do the percentages from the Ohio Higher Ed research. And they found this right here. Oops, Control-V, maybe. There we go. Putting in an extra indicator for some reason. And again, I'm just going to hit Control-A. Make this REL and make this 11. Okay. And you know what? It's bugging me that this is not aligning quite right. So you can actually adjust the alignment using these little indicators up here. So I'm going to move this over. And then it's going to line up the numbers with the first letter of the text of the line above it. That's actually how it should go. So for example, this A should line up under the I under intro. So I'm going to move that over. A little bit more. Yeah, that's how it should go. And then this should go, obviously, like so. So that's how you fix the alignment. If you've ever wanted to know, that's how you fix the alignment. So let's do that with this one too. And I believe I can do it all at once by hitting the Control key. Whoop. Oh, maybe not. In Microsoft Word, you can. Yeah. Can I hit Control-Y to make it do that thing again? I can. So you can hit Control-Y to make it do the thing you just did. So let's move that over just a titch more. And Control-Y, 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 Control-Y. Now everything's lined up. At least those things are lined up the way I want them to be. Now these, I'm going to line them up the way I want. Alignment matters because it makes it easier to read and it just looks nicer. And it allows you to fit more on the page. For my students, the requirement is their outline has to fit on one page. So you have to be careful about your spacing in order to make that work. Control-Y to do the same thing. Control-Y to do the same thing. Future. Okay. And then this definitely needs to be ooched over. It's a little bit wordy, but I do need those quotes, so I'll probably just leave it how it is. However, need a close quote, and I'm going to make this a little bit smaller. When you have a long quote like that, make sure you build in extra line spacing so your eye can go directly to it when you are, come on now, come on. Your eye can go directly to it when you're, I don't know how to make that spacing do right here. Let's see. Let's just make this tiny so that, nope, even that's not helping. Well, Okay, fine. Normally I would put an extra line space in there, but it's not letting me and I don't know how. So we'll just leave that for another time. Don't get too bogged down in alignment issues. I am, however, going to make this smaller so it at least draws my attention when I'm reading it. I can be like, okay, that's the small print. Now, another line space here, definitely, and another line space here. There we go. So now let's count my sources. I'm going to put my sources in bold just so it's easier to count. Control V. All right, and since I capitalized Investopedia, I'm going to capitalize Discover here. Now, you may be wondering, why are you getting bogged down in tiny details? Well, because I'm planning to use this as my source citation on my slides, so I might as well have it the way I want it from the very beginning. It doesn't take me too much extra time to do that. Bold, 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 and bold. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Good. And does it all fit on one page? So far, it kind of does. You know, you can also adjust the margins. Let's see. Format, file, layout. It should be layout. View, insert, format. Okay, give me a second here. I'll pause. Ha! I Googled it. And you go to File, Page Setup, and that's where you can fix your margins. So I want my margins to actually be 0.5, 0.5, 0.5, 0.5. And now it's all going to fit on one page. It's going to be fine. And I also figured out why it wasn't letting me have the single spacing here. If you go up here, it's preventing single lines. I guess that's the default. I don't know why, but I don't want it to prevent single lines. Oh, come on, Google. What is your dealio? Let's see. Ha, I just had it add space before list item. So there you go. And yeah, my outline's in good shape. So that's how you take your information that you have and put it into an outline. This would be perfectly fine for me to submit to Professor Sage, and she would be able to see all of my sources. They're nice and clean. So yeah, what I'm going to do now is, once again, download it. So you go to File, Download, save it as Microsoft Word. Now, if your computer will not let you save it as Microsoft Word, you can also save it as a PDF. So I'm just going to save this as, browse to where I'm going to save it. I'm saving it to, nope, not that, saving it to work. Oh, by the way, I've been talking about UNT because I just defaulted to using UNT as my comparison. The reason I did that is I already have a master's degree from UNT and I'm working on a second master's degree from UNT, which I would not have done if I didn't get a quality education at the University of North Texas. I'm very, very pleased. And one of the reasons they're more expensive than Collin is they do a lot of research. And so you absolutely want to support them. They have a swimming pool and a fitness center. I mean, it's fancy. So I don't want anybody to think that I am bad talking the University of North Texas. I'm actually going to school there right now, and I'm very, very pleased with the education I am receiving. So just a little side note there while I save my work. And I'm saving this again as a sample assignment. So let's save it as, this time I'll save it as Sample Persuasive Outline. 3/28/2020. Save. Okay, and you'll probably save it with your name on it or something along those lines. So that's ready to be uploaded. I'm done with my sources. Oh, but I never saved that, so I'll just minimize that right now. And you can also, let me show you how to save it as a PDF. You can just go down to PDF. Pretty much any computer nowadays is going to have the option to save something as a PDF. If it doesn't, you can get Adobe. You should be able to get Adobe, like a free version, or you can get Adobe through your school. Your school will probably provide you with a free version of Adobe. So I'm going to open with Adobe. Sing a little song. La 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 la. And it saved it as a PDF. So once again, save as. I'm going to save it as a PDF. PDF means portable document format, and that means that it will display correctly no matter what device you're using or what program you're using. So I will be able to view it in Canvas the way you meant for it to be viewed. It won't mess up your indicators in your outline. So I think this time I'm just going to save it to my desktop. That's just going to be quicker. And let's save it as Persuasive Outline. Okay. Awesome. Now the next bit I'm going to do, I'm going to show you how to upload your outline to Canvas, and I'm also going to show you how to make your slideshow. So that will be the next segment in this playlist.